Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to DRC GT4 Virginia International Raceway. I am your commentator and host, Deathlink10, and we are back for another round of the GT4 Championship. Things didn't go brilliantly last week. In terms of racing, it was a lot of fun, but in terms of actual production, it didn't go as well. But don't worry, we have fixed every problem. But I'm also joined by my good friend and co-commentator Gareth. Gareth, how you doing, my friend? Welcome back.
Oh, it's great to be back. It's a longer circuit this time out than it was last week, so it's going to be interesting to see how people handle the extra pressure on this. And you know what, it's such a windy circuit in certain areas. People might get caught out a little bit, like we saw in that early sector. And can MKL provide another defensive masterclass as well?
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see this race. We've got a few new drivers. Apparently, some of them didn't check in, but I think the check-in thing was broken. So they'll be getting in shortly. And we're just having a quick server restart here, I believe, as well, just to accommodate for these people. Um, that's not their fault. It's just a buggy check-in. So yeah, Virginia International Raceway. We're going with the full version of the course today. There is multiple versions of this track, but we've gone with a full version. 17 corners on this track. Actually 17A apparently, so it adds actually an A to another corner. But yeah, it's crazy long, and I think it's going to be fun. Have you driven this track? Do you know a lot about it before, Swain? It's not Swain, sorry. Sorry, I was talking to Swain. Uh, Gareth.
There we go.
Yeah,
No, I've
thanks.
not driven the Virginia International Raceway circuit. However, I've seen a few races here, so this is going to be a little bit new to me, as I'm sure it might be new to a few people here anyway. Looking at the timing screens, the lovely timing screens that you can get, given it looks like a few people that, especially people we were expecting to be a little bit quicker, weren't as quick as they could have been. So, or from what my knowledge is of last week, but it's going to be an interesting one. Anyway, 17 corners. It's ridiculously long, this circuit in for a GT4 car. From going from a short circuit to a long circuit, these guys might find it a bit confusing.
Yeah, and I've just been told it's a 15-minute qualifying session and a 16-lap race. We're in for the long haul. It's a 16-lapper, shorter than it was last week, but obviously the track length, as Gareth was saying, does make it longer. That's like a Will Buxton saying. Anyway, the track length makes it longer. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be very interesting. We should have 17 drivers today. Not our full grid, of course, but 17 is a good number. And I think we're going to hopefully see some good on-track battles. I believe Edgen's racing, and I don't believe, unfortunately, I don't think there's any scrub racing this weekend. I haven't seen him on the check-in list, and I haven't seen him practicing. So Edgen will be racing, and MKL is racing as well, I hope. Yes, he is. MKL's racing. So we're going to get that battle again.
Well, I mean, if MKL can hold him back as much as he did last time out, I think a lot of us are going to be in for an absolute incredible viewing here. Um, and while we wait for the server to restart and everything, it's going to be it's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, last time out, obviously Ari pulled out quite a big lead because of that defense from MKL. Do we think Ari's got it in him again this time round?
Well, I think last weekend, obviously MKL did help, but I think Ari did just have the pace at the end of the day. He was very, very quick indeed. So it'll be interesting to see if he can do it again. But obviously, with it being 16 laps, it's less of a sprint and more of a marathon. We've obviously seen a lot of sprint driving this weekend. I'm kind of bored of it, so let's hope we get a bit of a marathon race here today. We're just jumping into a quick practice session to get everyone back into the session. The good thing is this weekend, Gareth, is you can actually look at where everyone is because it's all working properly.
It's all working properly, and Scrub is going to be over the moon to hear that we haven't just left it to the last minute. It was about 12 minutes before the last minute that we left it to get sorted. But no, in all seriousness, it's great to be able to to view it for the whole race instead of just slowly picking things up through. And you know what? Maybe I can even see a battle or two that's not just on the main screen as well.
That would be important. The other thing I've just seen as well is I believe one of the Mercs that didn't have a skin working is now working, and that car is number 42, also known as one of our newcomers into the race. It is Mr. Swain, his first race in DRC, and I think you're very familiar with this man, aren't you, Gareth?
I am indeed, and all of a sudden I've just got my sound back, so I've missed everything of what you've just said. So
Okay.
please, um, bear with me 2 seconds.
When I say we don't have any problems, we've had a slight sound issue today, but nothing that can't be solved by a little Windows troubleshooting. Um, But yeah, as you can see, we're now off board with Swain here as he drives around in his lovely Mercedes. I believe the livery he's running is a take on the FIA logo, but instead of where it says FIA, it says Mafia on it. So it's a very interesting message they're sending out there. I don't know what that's meant to you can take whatever you want from that. But a very interesting message indeed. But a lovely livery here at the Virginia International Raceway. This is a very wide circuit. And I don't know if you can hear me yet, Gareth, but it's incredibly wide, and there's a lot of overtaking opportunities for people here this afternoon. So qualifying's not going to really matter that much.
No, no. Well, I can hear you. That's
Okay.
the start, but that's because I paused the game so I can actually hear you for 5 minutes. And yeah, it's the wider the circuit, obviously, the more chance of overtaking, and should be less cars going off track in essence, but they will be forcing a little bit more. I think just to really push to get those times down. And you know what? You're right. Qualifying might not have as much importance as it would usually do.
No, I agree with you. I'm just putting up the engine sounds there a bit because, it's just you want to hear the engines of the engine car. You want to hear me and Gareth speak a lot, but the car engines on these are incredible to listen to. But I do also want to hear myself think, so this is why they're not on maximum level. And everyone's heard a car engine before. So Swain is going for his push lap here with 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock for practice. I think we're just still getting people to join. I think there's just a few small issues, but it's not the end of the world. It is all working fine. Gareth has got no issues whatsoever, and he's just taking his time. He doesn't want to join too early. Likes to have the experience of a full race weekend.
I accidentally hit exit to leave the session by accident. So, but I've got the live timing data set up, so I can see an awful lot that's going on. Um,
It's all those
and now I've
things I
got the
told you to
real loud
download.
sound back, so
Yes.
there we go. I can hear myself think again. But some lovely sounding cars that we've got. But sometimes, yeah, you want to be able to hear yourself think. But enough of me and my troublesome woes.
There was a very
Edging,
loud engine there.
obviously, edging, obviously, with an incredible 1 lap pace last time out. Do we think he's the man to beat again, or obviously Ari was incredible last race as well. Is he more the driver to beat?
Well, I think when it comes to Ari, he's a very quick racer. I've only seen him race in Assetto Corsa. I've never seen him race in Formula One. But he did race in our Classic Series in F1 for a while, and he was very quick in that as well. One that pace isn't, I'd say, his main strength. I still think it'll be edging, battling for pole position. We don't know how that BMW has been set up for this weekend, but he does actually run a bit wide there. And I don't know if that's just because he wants to get on with the main qualifying session, or if he was having a bit of trouble with locking up the brakes. But we'll find out very shortly, as we're into overtime now, and we should be getting into our 15-minute qualifying session. If everyone's in, I think everyone is.
I think everyone's in. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still trying to get used to names and everything for the GT4 series here. But we have got Fawaz. Is that how we?
I think it's Fawaz. I
Fawaz.
always call it Fawaz. He's got a very nice livery on his car. I was just going to say.
It's just jet black for me. Oh no, it's not. When you get close, you can see What incredible! That is an incredible livery, isn't it?
It's got hexagons on it and everything.
Yeah. And does it change colour? That's very well done if it is.
If it can change colour, that's incredible livery. That's top 10. 10 out of 10. You can tell we're stalling for time. Oh, he's actually lost the rear end there. Just to give us a bit of a show coming out of the... I don't know what... That's like the where it turns back on itself, the circuit. It's a really odd circuit, this. I've never really seen a circuit like it, personally. But that was turn 12, called the Oak Tree. I assume because there used to be an oak tree there.
You would hazard a guess that that being the case. Is that Edgin's car? Just
I don't know if that's
both
Eden's car.
both Swain, and then there's another car that's just decided to stop. Very very odd.
Yeah, it's just one of the Mercedes is just stopped out on circuit. Can't tell you where, but if a car hits him in the if a Waz hits him in the rear, we'll know where they are then. We're just still ticking down the clock here. I assume we're going to be getting underway in a second. There's been no indication from anyone that we're actually going to be getting into qualifying. We're doing our best to stall. Not stall, that's rude. Host. We're hosting as it goes to
There we
back.
go.
There we go.
It's the perfect sign, that isn't it? The screen just dimming out. It means qualifying is getting underway very shortly.
It does. And a few people still in the pit. Apparently only 5 in the pits. That's a bit worrying. Oh, people are disconnecting. That's not good. Are we having another server restart? Or... I don't think a race of 5 people is going to be very good if that actually happens, Gareth.
No, no, this is. I mean, it might be entertaining for the first corner, but after that, it could be quite problematic.
Hmm.
And I'm just trying to
Work out
remember,
what's going on.
where is it? Yeah, with it being 17 corners and almost 3.2 miles long, it's this is kind of like an F1 length track, isn't it? When you think about it,
Yeah.
3.2 miles, 5.5 kilometers roughly.
It's
Yeah, people will. You know, these guys will be thinking it's a Formula One race.
It's obviously not on the same length as the circuit that Formula One is at right now, but it's not far off of it, to be honest with you. It's kind of got a similar shape, it's got some technical sections, but I don't actually think that chicane is there. I think that map's incorrect. But anyway, everyone is coming out of the pits. We do have our 15 minutes on the clock, and we're going to see how many people can get laps in. If Edgin's just going to go for the one lap done situation he does, and there is more people here. Of course there is. So you've got to race out the pit lane there between Ari and Edgin, setting their boundaries out first. Oh my god, they all pour out the pits. I'm glad we've not just got 5.
I was going to say that is everyone all at once, isn't it? I mean, MKL's livery new? That looks like a different livery for MKL this season, this race.
Yeah, I think we've got some livery changes up, that's for sure. We had a new pack of liveries come up, and I wonder if some people have changed them. So 13 drivers right now are out on the circuit, Benjamin being the front runners of those. As he goes through the S section there. And you can actually see on board this week, Gareth, I might make you do a flying lap with one of these drivers, if that's okay with you.
I mean,
with Benjamin.
it seems to be auto-changing.
Ah, you have auto camera on. You'll need to turn that off. It'll be on one of your sidebars on your apps.
I thought I turned it off.
You have to turn it off every time you join in.
Right. That's not frustrating. It is off.
Oh. Is it? Is it? Are you sure? That's a bit of a weird bug.
Yeah.
See, I told you nothing would go wrong. It's not an issue. It's just a feature.
It is. It is. This is what makes it look so great for
Yes,
us all.
For us all.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes and see if I can just turn this off.
Well, Benjamin is about to start his flying lap, so I will take you through this one. So he's coming down the main straight at the moment, as he's heading for the first flying lap. Now, heavy braking zone into turn 1. You want to keep to the apex of the corner. He's run a bit wide there, but he's getting a good exit out of it. Actually, we're going to ride on board with the car here. Actually, the engine is very loud, but we'll stay on board. As we're coming through turn 3 now, it's a very off-camber corner. Got to get that absolutely perfect. And then once again, another 90-degree corner for turn 5, and then turn 5A. As we head on to turn 6, we go through a Maggots and Beckett's-like section. So we're now back onto a main straight. Now, sometimes the track diverges to the right here on a different layout, but no, we're going to carry on. Go through turn 7, turn 8, as we start going uphill through turn 9, and then you want to head downhill to turn 10, as it's a proper downhill section aiming for the apex. Heavy braking zone up into the oak tree here for turns 11 and turn 12. He's done that very nicely indeed. Just off the runoff area there, back on the main straight, not taking the left-hand side chicane, so he's carrying on straight on as we're aiming for turn 14 and 14A. So braking zone coming up just now as we head down, and then a heavy braking zone for turn 14, and then switching it back for turn 15 as we head through what is known as the roller coaster section. Now into turn 16 with one final corner of turn 17, runs nicely through there and onto the back straight, and see what lap time you've pulled, because in his Toyota GT4 he can set the first lap time, which is a 1:55.2, and that is the lap they'll all be chasing here, Gareth.
Yeah, I think Vlad immediately goes in with a little bit. Oh no, Vlad's gone 55.4. Is that Vlad? Is that, or is that been invalidated? I'm just trying to cheat and look at the live timings as well, but I don't think he has. But it is Ari Ferrari that's 1:55.4. So I'm not. It's very, very close on the timing for Swain and Benjamin, though. I didn't realise it was going to be that close between the two of them. That's incredible between the two. So MKL though 1:58.8. So maybe we are going to see drivers do like an initiation lap. Edgin, I think, may have got caught in traffic through all that.
Yeah, 2:43 is definitely not the competitive lap time he would have asked for. I think this circuit is catching out a few drivers. It's not, again, as we were riding on board with the whole lap with Benjamin there, and it's not an easy circuit to understand. I was still trying to figure out where all the corners were, and I haven't seen it before. But Swain at the moment looking good on his debut, one in third position, 1:55.2, as he lets a car through on his inside. Benjamin, on the other hand, found 6/10 here in the middle sector. And I think he's going to be improving his time. 1:55.2 on his opening lap. Can he beat Ari's time of a 1:54.6? That's 6/10 improvement. Is quite the jump up.
And that 6/10 would put him into that pole position away and take it away from Ari. So definitely go on to keep an eye out. And across the line he goes. Is he? I think. Is this the start finish straight? That's
yes, it is. It's just longer than I thought it was.
Yeah. And it is quicker, but then Vlad goes and does it. Well, the only way I can describe it is does an edging, and Ari goes quicker again. But let's go on board with. Well, I say let's go on board with. I'm going to go on board with Edgin and see what he can do, because we know how quick this man is on one pace and on one lap pace. He's pretty solid in the race as well. It looks like he is trying to flash a McLaren out the way to get out of the way of him, and. As he comes through, I'm trying to pick up corners as this. I think this is part of the roller coaster, is it not?
It is, I believe so.
So through 17 and 17A, so technically an 18 corner circuit, but the Americans like to, I don't know, have a half a corner, I guess, as he comes down the start finish straight. Edgin, what can he do? He's got to be quicker than he was.
And he is, but only 157.0. That is not the engine we're used to. Maybe his BMW is not suited to this track. Where you can see, if there's any other BMWs running on this track, they're clearly not working well. Currently, it's a McLaren 1-2 with Vlad and Ari sitting up there. Benjamin is in third, and then MKL has slotted into fourth. Swain in fifth, followed by Morris, Kimmerai, and Pockets, who's actually just had a little mistake coming into turn 12. And he's in the BMW as well. So I wonder what's happening here. Fawaz, the only driver out there not set a competitive lap time, and with him going off there, it's not going to be competitive at all with only 7 minutes on the clock.
It's, as they say, time is running out for people to set a competitive lap time. Are we going to see some drivers pop into the pits now? I think we are. But there was nearly a crash coming through all that, and that was problematic, definitely, if you don't want to be crashing at this track at this early stage.
No, not at all. Ari does doesn't improve. Goes 154.3. He's just behind his teammate there. MKL diving into the pits. Swain, on the other hand, is continuing his push here. He's just coming up towards the line now. Currently fifth fastest with a 155.2. I think he's going to improve his time, and he does, to a 54.8. But not enough to jump himself into the top four. There seems to be a bit of a gap between the top five and everyone else.
Yeah, it's nearly a second between Swain and Morris, and it's really odd to see Edgin in that problematic area. Down in 12th place, is he? That's not great for him at all, and not something not something I'm used to in the race and the practice session and the qualifying that I've only been here for this short time in DRC. But I mean, we know he's quick, and maybe you're right. Maybe it is the BMW's just struggling for any sort of competitiveness at this track.
Well, that last lap, 159, didn't improve at all. We're going to just keep on board with him here for this lap and see what he does. But at the moment, whatever's happening on circuit is not enjoying at all. This time he's got a bit more of a clean track. He's got no one in front of him. Maybe he's just caught traffic on those last few laps. Or maybe he's burning off his fuel and he's about to set the most competitive lap time you'll ever see. We're going to find out now as he heads towards Sector 1. Is an improvement on his time, and he's up by 0.06 of a second on what is pole position's first sector, and maybe Edgin was just holding a bit back.
Maybe, but he seems to be bumping through between 7 and 9 and through the South Bend now into a semi-hairpin, I suppose, we could call turns 10 and 12. It's through there, and it looks nice and tidy again for Edgin as he comes down this back straight, I suppose, all the way through. There is a section where he's just driving past now, which has a little kink in it if you're in certain parts, in certain divisions or classifications of racing, but it's just straight for us here in the GT4 into 14 and 14A, but he goes off the track quite significantly, and maybe this is where it's catching him out and causing him some time problems.
Well, just coming to that second sector, he was down 0.4 on pole position, and I just wondered, well, the way that car is bouncing and the way the front end is, it looks like that car has got a lot of downforce on it, and it's clearly not got a lot of straight line speed because he lost a lot of time down the back straight, and I wonder if he's compromised his qualifying pace, which is rare you see for Edgin, for a little bit of consistency during the race on higher fuel.
This could be it. I'm going to say, I think you're right, an awful lot in this race. Edgin looks like because he's so quick in that first sector where it's quite snaky, left, right, where you need that little bit of extra grip, you need that little bit, especially in the race, and that's where it's going to be crucial. And maybe he's, I suppose, I don't want to say not learnt from the MKL incident last week where they were battling and stuck behind for so long, but where this track is so different and wider, I think he's actually learned in a sense of where he knows that the corners are going to be his best opportunity to get past people.
With him only starting third, was starting 12th on the grid at the moment. Fawaz is actually starting behind him. Fawaz hasn't set a lap time yet. There's 3 minutes left in the session. Vlad is on pole position by quite a margin at the moment. Actually, no, I say that, it's not a margin. Actually, Ari's cut that deficit by, wow, less than a tenth. There's nothing in that between the top two McLarens.
That is what, 0.06 of a second? That's incredibly close.
Ari is in front of his teammate here, and Vlad is one behind. So Vlad will be getting some sort of tow behind him, if any at all. And he has actually backed off there. I can see he's fallen back, so maybe he's preparing for another lap. So let's see what Ari's first sector is like. Is it competitive? It's a tenth down on what Vlad did, but a tenth actually isn't too much when you're separated by less than 0.06 of a second. Vlad's actually gone back into the pits there. I wonder if he had a little error coming through the S's and got a bit of damage on his car. Oh my god.
And Edgin. What? Wow. Edgin is hooked up the perfect lap, and everyone else is probably, after our saying that maybe it's not perfect for qualifying, blah, blah, blah. Wow, we were so wrong. Edgin's just done 5/10 on the rest of the field.
1:53.4, and Edgin once again pulling it out of the bag right at the end of the session. Ari 5/10 down in the middle sector on what Edgin can do. He just needed to pull off that perfect lap, as you said, Gareth, and he might have just done it. Vlad came back into the pits and is heading straight back out, so he's got another opportunity to get some places up. Currently on board with Ari. That looks like, is anyone else improving out there? I know there's a few people that want to jump a bit higher up. Benjamin's still running great in P4.
I think Swain might be improving on his time here. It could be, but there's cars in front of him that could put him off as well, which might not be ideal for Swain. But he's definitely the quickest he's been in that first sector, which is good for him. Currently P6 in his debut as he comes round the oak tree now down the back straight. But I mean, I don't know. He's used to coming into get races and in F1 and being near the front. This is a little bit further down. What Assetto Corsa is a little bit different, and I mean, I do love his livery Mafia.
the Mafia is strong, and he's 7/10 down on pole positions, middle sector there. But Swain is improving. He won't actually get to the line in time to do another push lap if he so wishes, if he's got enough fuel in the car. And I wonder if maybe he's just biding his time. Fawaz does get a time on the board, but it's only a 2:03. Pockets is in the pit, so he won't improve. He stays P9. And here it comes Swain. He's currently sixth fastest with a 1:54.8. Can he improve his time? He improved to fifth with a 1:54.4, and just misses out on P4 by, what is that? Is that 0.08 of a second? It might be around that. I don't think it's even that.
It's eight. No, it's 500th of a second, which is in itself is nuts. It's well, Benjamin, his debut last week, let's not forget about that, and doing an incredible job. But Swain on he wants it this time, but there's an awful lot of cars in this little bit of, it's like the mini straight, which is curvy, I guess, is from turn 6 all the way to turn 10, and leading that train is Morris, I think, or no, Benjamin, Vlad, and Swain are in this as well. This is Edgin just behind. They're all trying to push one lap in this, and it's going to be an interesting one as Vlad comes round through the oak now, or the oak tree corner, going over as much of the curb as possible, and it doesn't look like it's unsettled for McLaren at all.
And his teammate did finish his lap, but improved, but not enough to beat Edgin's lap time. I think Raid improves as well. Can Vlad see what his middle sector is going to be like? Is it competitive on Edgin? It's 3/10 down on Edgin, and I don't know how far it is down on his teammate. He might have to find something in the final sector. Swain is also still pushing, and I wonder if Benjamin is as well. There's a McLaren in front here as he pulls off. MKL puts his car into P4 with a 54.3. That's a good improvement from him. Now here comes Vlad. He runs quite wide on that final corner. Is there any hope for Vlad to improve, to get pole position, or jump his teammate? He just needs a tenth for his teammate. He needs a bit more for Edge, and he crosses the line now, and he does jump onto the front row. Swain jumps into fifth for his final lap, and Vlad did get his front row start. Swain gets his fifth place on his debut, ahead of the second debut, Benjamin. And Ari is pushing, but he's not improving his lap time. Edgen is out there, but no need to, as Edgen once again takes pole position here at the Virginia International Raceway, and he'll start alongside Vlad with Ari and MKL right behind them. That was an exciting end to qualifying.
Well, that was great. Vlad had to put in a complete purple third sector to get in front of his teammate, and they did exactly that. I think it was the quickest third sector. It was a 30.6, which is great from him. But I mean, throughout Kamari up into P7 there in his McLaren, there's an awful lot of McLarens on this grid tonight, which is quite interesting to see.
There is a lot of McLarens indeed. Raid also in the McLaren, currently P9. Fawaz, the slowest of all the drivers, didn't actually get into the 1 minute 50s, but he did put a lap time on the board at the end, clearly struggling at the moment. MKL, best of the rest in P4, was the one of the only drivers that, well, he didn't jump into the 53s. Only 3 drivers did, Edge and Vlad and Ari. Swain putting in a great performance so far, currently in P5. Let's see how his race goes. Only a 10th off of beating MKL's time, and a great final lap as well, because it just put him ahead of Benjamin by, well, 20 thousandths of a second, I think that is. It might be even less.
Yeah, 200th of a second.
200th of a second. I always get those missteps, but there we go.
Oh, it is difficult to keep on top of everything, especially when you're rambling on at 100 miles an hour as well. But looking through there seems to be they are the closest 2 cars on track, while the others are in the 10th of a second between people. So it's interesting to see that the gap's a little bit further apart between drivers this week. However, I'm going to stick my neck out and say it's because it's a longer track.
I think that is probably accurate, and I don't think there's going to be a lot in it in the race. If MKL can get a good start and get in front of these guys, I think they're going to be regretting not starting better. Edgen had an awful start last time. He said the lights didn't come up on his screen, which is why he dropped down, so hopefully he doesn't have that same issue this weekend. And 13 drivers will line up today for the race. I wish it was a bit more. Personally, I feel like we could have had a larger grid, but I think people have been very busy. Considering 17 signed up, it's surprising that we've only got 13 actually on the grid, which is a bit of a disappointment, but obviously we did start a bit later. We're going to see what... we're going to be getting underway shortly. Don't know why I said we can see. We can see. Everyone can see. People have eyes.
Well, some people do.
Well, it's true. I've just offended an entire... Oh no, I've offended an entire population.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, let's move swiftly on. And I say move swiftly on. There's no racing to actually move swiftly on to.
No.
But I mean, now there is. Now there's got to be, as hopefully we will get on board with some action very, very shortly.
And I'm sure we will here, as we will be heading towards the 6 red lights for Assetto Corsa. It's Edgen from Vlad, Ari tucked in behind here, as we get ready for the 6 red lights, and it's lights out. And we're underway here, and Edgen once again, a horrendous start from Edgen, didn't go anywhere. And Vlad jumping straight ahead there into the lead. Ari on the inside, MKL is taking Edgen as well. Edgen dropping back even further as Ari and Vlad taking first and second respectively. Swain up into P4 ahead of Edgen. Edgen into 5th now, just behind Benjamin. Horrendous start once again from Edgen this week, Gareth.
Yeah, Edgen must be cursing his luck, because this is not what we expect from him at all. But maybe he had the same thing. Is there someone going on? There's some side-by-side action with Swain, with, I believe, I can't figure out who that is. It's a McLaren,
I think
but
it's
I'm not sure
Ari.
which one it is.
I think it's Ari battling for P3 with Swain. A fantastic start for Swain. He's already ahead of Edgin as the cars make their climb up through this fantastic sector. There's some wheel-to-wheel action going on towards the back with Morris and Kimmerai. But right now, Edgin on recovery drive duty already on lap 1. But it's a long, long way to go. We're only on lap 1 of 16. And we're going to see a lot more action here. I think Swain's actually going for the move. I thought he was. He looked like it. Vlad still leading. Benjamin is now in 6th as we head onto the back straight. Vlad with a 1.7 gap already. And is he going to run away with it like his teammate did last week?
It could very well be that, but it looks like Ari's having a bit of trouble with a bit of, I don't know, traction out of corners at the moment. He just struggled. And now he's got what everyone else had last week, and that is having to find a way past MKL. I'm certain MKL is not going to make it easy for Ari through this as he comes round to complete the first lap. I was going to say first lap for the first time. They're going to complete the first lap of this race. And wow, what a start from a fair few drivers here. But MKL is going to be the man that frustrates an awful lot of drivers.
It's going to be a cork in the bottle, and MKL is once again that man in that role. He's going to get bored of this soon. He's got 16 laps to try and defend these guys, his position, but he might be on the attack soon. He's actually reeled Vlad in that last section. He's actually only within a second now as Swain meets Edgin. Now this could be a very interesting battle here. You said you wanted to see these two battle since last weekend when Swain was invited to the GT4 Championship.
Yeah, this is, Edgin, I know both, well, I know Swain really well. Edgin, I know how quick he is, and I know they're both very, very quick. So in a GT4 car, this is going to be interesting. But I think Swain might be losing a little bit of ground now to Ari. Maybe competitiveness has struggled a little bit. Obviously, when you swap between games, it can affect you, but he's still holding his own at the moment. But I mean, how well he's going to defend. He's got to defend really well to keep Edgin behind him, and that is something that's, well, we'll wait and see. They're very close at the moment, though.
Very close indeed. The top 5 are separated by less than a second at the moment, as there's actually a car off in the background that you can just see on the grass. I don't know who that's cut in the corner. I think he had a run down, and here comes Edgin now. He has an opportunity to take the first shots at Swain. Can he dive up the inside here? Swain will squeeze him to the inside. There's a bit of argy-bargy going on between them, but Edgin makes it round the outside, and Swain subjugated to 5th, but he held that as aggressively as he thought he could. But this battle probably isn't over, as Edgin runs wide, and Swain says thank you very much, and he moves back up into 5th as Benjamin now on the inside. Edgin having trouble with his brakes. We saw him go off in qualifying there, and he's done the same mistake there as Vlad sets the fastest lap.
Yeah, that's problematic really for Edgin. That's not, I don't want to say maybe it's the pressure. Maybe it is the pressure of someone giving him a little bit more of a, not an aggressive touch, but someone that will push a little bit further. We didn't see an awful lot of people pushing last time out, but I suppose it wasn't really the track to push people onto curbs and what have you. But well, we'll have to wait and see what Edgin can do, because he's already trying to get back at Benjamin, and I think he's got that move stuck. And oh, I thought that was going to be a collision there.
And Benjamin looks like he conceded that place a bit, and Edgin's now got a bit of ground to catch up to the rest of the field. Benjamin down to 6th, Edgin up into 5th. There's a few gaps forming at the moment. I wonder if we're just going to see a bit of management going on here at the start. Obviously, as we said, long race, long circuit, and they're going to try and burn off fuel so they can push a bit later on. MKL, Ari, and Vlad all within a second of each other, and there's going to be some battling going on between these two. And I wonder who's going to blink first in the pushing wars. We'll have them later on. Benjamin keeping Edgin a bit honest, but not exactly pushing him. On the other hand, Swain says, I think I want to get involved in this battle up front. I think he wants this three-way battle to turn into a four-way fight.
Yeah, he's just nipping on the edge, isn't he, of everyone else is quite close together. He's just, well, maybe he's just waiting a little bit. Maybe he wants to wait to see how everyone else is driving before he can get through. But look at, is that Ari going very, very wide through roller coaster?
I think think a lot of people are struggling with this circuit at the moment. The one person I can tell you that's not struggling, MKL, he's reeled in to 0.4 of a second now, and we know how fast that car is in a straight line. And are we going to see an overtake for the lead of the race here? MKL is right behind Vlad, and he looks to the inside now. He's going to go down the inside on the Toyota. He brakes late, arguably too late, and Vlad retakes the inside line. But MKL is letting Vlad know this is not the defensive MKL we saw last week. He's on the attack.
This is much more of an offensive MKL. He's looking incredible at the moment. I don't know if Vlad is going to have an answer to him if he has another pop down the inside, down the start-finish straight. MKL looks so at tune with this track, a bit like Ari was last time out, but a little mistake there, and he's allowed Ari to. Speaking about that, he's allowed Ari to have a little sniff, but nothing doing at this moment in time. Just behind, Edgen is catching up to Swain as well. There's a few battles forming in this pot.
And MKL and Ari hold off their battle for another lap. Vlad will be cheering his cockpit, his teammates doing something about the man pestering behind. Oh, he's dived up the inside. He sent that from miles back. And Ari has pushed MKL right off the circuit. And that seemed like a bit of a rude move indeed. You've got to get your elbows out around here, but I think that was maybe a tad aggressive there, Gareth.
Desperation. There's been desperation and trying to pass MKL in the same sentence. Well, pretty much the whole of last week's race, I should say. And yeah, that is, Ari just desperately not wanting to be involved in stuck behind MKL. But MKL's got the pace, and I think he's going to go, down the start-finish straight. He could be straight back past Ari.
MKL's third sector seems absolutely mighty through that roller coaster section. His Toyota set up to absolute perfection. He's round the outside now. They seem pretty even on straight line speed. Edgen sets the fast lap of the race. There's a battle brewing behind us as well. And can MKL keep it around the outside here? It's not an easy place to overtake around the outside of this circuit. He's still there on the outside. This battle's going to carry on for the next couple of corners. They're inches away from each other, and MKL makes his move stick, and he's up into P2. And Swain, as we saw in the background there, he was defending Edgen, and it's all kicked off here on lap 5.
Yeah, what defense? Well, what attack turned defense from MKL. That was incredible from him. Swain keeping Edgen at bay as well. We know how difficult that is, but I think that BMW's got just that straight line speed that the Mercedes is lacking as they come down this 7, 8, 9 Maggots and Beckett's replica, and I don't think there's an answer for Swain. And oh, goodness, he's getting close, but Edgen is placing that car in the right place at the right time.
And Edgen has finally got his move done on Swain. No silly brake locking up. But Swain did his just to try and hold him off there best he could. But there's only so much you can do against this man. But I say that, he's coming back down the back straight, but I think once again that BMW has got very good straight line speed. Edgen clearly burnt from last weekend's lack of straight line speed. She's got a bit of background battle between two McLarens. Steele and Kimmerai are battling for P9. Also, Pockets is involved in this battle. This is P11, P10, and P9, all finding out respectively as Steele just stays in front, but Pockets coming from a long way back in that BMW. Can he dive up the inside? He can't. Actually, he can find his way around the outside, and he keeps it there through the roller coaster section. You probably shouldn't go wheel to wheel through here, but they're trying their best too. No touching just of yet, as Pockets has to stick behind him for another lap. And some good battles even towards the back of the grid.
Yeah, battles throughout, which is nice. I was just about to bring this up. Sorry if I felt like I was going to interrupt you there. It just feels like that while there is a little bit of difference between pace with some of these drivers, there are clumps of cars, as that's Vlad massively off the track at the left hook of turn 4.
And as we return towards the front of the picture, Swain dropping off a bit here. He's lost out to Edgen. He's dropped 1.5 seconds to Edgen. And Benjamin says he wants a bit of that position as well. He wants P5. And we're going to see two of the rookies this season who have never driven in DRC before. One drove last weekend, one is driving for the first time this weekend. Going to have a little battle here. But there does seem to be some car setup differences. And I think Swain is got this car set up entirely for that final sector. He's very downforce heavy.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit of a mistake from Swain with his setup, but you live and learn. Edgin learned from last week. You could be the quickest, fastest person around, and you're always going to learn. And if you don't learn, that's when things go wrong. It's just lovely to see a group of cars, and then a group of cars all battling away.
And MKL once again has closed this gap to Vlad. Vlad, I wouldn't say he's been holding on because he's been very pacey, but look, we can just see how fast MKL is through this final sector. That is ridiculous speed he carries through here. As we go through the final corner, Vlad has taken that so tight on the inside, he's actually on the grass. But he don't think he'll be able to do anything. I think Ari's going to get involved as well. I think we're going to get 3 wide into turn 1 here. MKL on the outside. Vlad's defending really aggressively. He's basically defending his teammate right here. And his teammate might switch to the inside. Vlad pulls over as much as he can. Vlad's going to be in the middle of this 3-way battle. MKL can't do anything about it. The two McLarens push each other wide. Vlad's gone wide. Ari's up the inside. It's still 3-3 here. And the McLarens, I think, could try to work together, but I think they're actually hindering themselves. As Ari's still with Vlad. Oh, Vlad and Ari have collided, I think, there. MKL up the inside. Can he get past Vlad, who has fallen from first to third? And chaos ensued on lap 7 there, as now Ari's into the lead. MKL stayed where he is, but Vlad's down to third.
So it's basically the same with the two McLaren. It feels like the drivers have swapped cars. Ari desperate to go through. He wants to be a double race winner, and at the moment he's doing everything he can to do that. But MKL, I don't think is going to be an easy customer to keep behind. And look already, Vlad is dropping away from these guys. Are we going to see Edgin versus Vlad here?
Well, something else I'd like to say is well, Swain and Benjamin have not dropped Edgin. They are sticking with it, man. Look at that. 6 cars, basically, there's basically 2 seconds between first and sixth, and that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. They are on the same back straight, and are we going to see some absolute chaos towards the end of this Grand Prix? We saw it today in Formula 2, less so in F1, but this is GT4, and we could absolutely see some madness towards the end of this Grand Prix as MKL once again are you surprised how fast he is in that final sector? He's so quick, so much quicker visibly anyway.
Yeah, MKL is looking incredible. I mean, he was using this to his advantage in his defense last week. This week he's using it to his advantage in attack. Ari's, I don't think he's going to be there for long. MKL is sizing him up. These two are both race pace quicker than Vlad, and Vlad is struggling a little bit at the moment. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the battle with his teammate has just cost him a little bit, but this is going to be interesting. Edgin versus Vlad for the podium. The final podium spot. But if there's more contact, if there's more incidents, we could see a rookie or two. Oh, up the inside. Edgin's already passed Vlad.
And Vlad just got a bit out of shape on that corner there, and he just allowed Edgin to sort of just go past him. I don't know if Vlad has any damage from that banging together with both MKL and Ari, his teammate. Vlad clearly not wanting to give this up very early on. He's still trying to go back up the inside. Vlad is, well, I'd say all over the road, but I think he's taking the absolute perfect lines through these corners. Edgin's just perfectly defending them. Can Vlad get a move up into towards the oak tree here, turns 11 and 12. Vlad brakes really late. He's actually run super wide there. And we've seen that a few times, Vlad running wide. He's all over the road here.
This is maybe there is damage to Vlad. He's not as consistent or as smooth as he was earlier on in the race, and Swain and Benjamin still there or thereabouts. But as things stand, it's MKL versus Ari for the win. Edgin in a little bit of no man's land, but that was because of his battle with Vlad. Maybe Edgin can still win this race.
There's still a possibility. Edgin started on pole, had a horrendous start, dropped behind both Benjamin and Swain and made his way through the pack. But don't count Edgin out of this race yet. I wouldn't count any of the top 6 out of this race personally. I think there's still a lot to happen here. We're only on lap 8. It's flown by here at the Virginia International Raceway. as MKL continues his charge for the lead of the race. He's clearly got some straight line speed on that car and a mighty third sector to boot. But Ari, once again, proving that race win last time out was no fluke and no help from this man behind him. Clearly, this man, they've clearly not got a pack together because they have been properly wheel to wheel this afternoon. Some proper wheel banging.
Definitely, and I think MKL might be kicking himself slightly because if he'd made the move on Vlad before Ari, I think MKL might be the guy to beat. Really, obviously, you know, whoever's at the top of the timing and the top of the race is always the guy to beat. But I think he would have had that extra. I think he's got that extra pace about him to maybe pull away a little bit from Ari. Ari's just got everything in the first sector. They're pretty even in the second, and in the third sector, it's all about MKL.
MKL just closes up during the corners and has a great exit speed. You were mentioning Ari struggling on exit speed. I think he definitely does. And I think Vlad has definitely got some problem with his car. He's running not as fast as he was before, and he's a lot slower. But look at that car, that pack between third and sixth, nothing in that here. But here is the battle for the lead, and is MKL going to try this move again? It didn't work too well on the first attempt. It might work better on the second, and actually Ari's dropped back a bit, I think due to a bit more of connection issues than anything else. But we know how fast MKL is through this final sector. He's going to close up as much as he possibly can to get the maximum effect running down the back straight. And is this his opportunity to finally take the lead of the race here? The Virginia International Raceway, lap 10 of 16. We've only got 6 laps to go when they cross the line. 0.2 of a second between the two top drivers, and Ari defending the inside well. MKL pulls to the outside line. Is Ari going to brake too late? He doesn't. He perfectly parks it on the apex. That's brilliant defensive from Ari. And that is exactly how you want to defend that corner. And now coming through the next couple of corners, can MKL find a way through? The McLaren's been running a bit wide here, but not too wide to throw off MKL. And once again, Ari is pulling off what MKL did last week, a defensive master class.
It's looking great at the moment for Ari. He's able to hold MK in the areas that he needs to. It looks like overall the BMW is the fastest in that first sector, and that is obviously edging. Swain is catching Vlad, but these two are pulling away. Vlad was definitely holding up. Edgin doesn't have the overall pace. There's a few mistakes in Edgin tonight, and that's a little bit uncommon, I guess, is the best way for me to describe it from what I know of him. But look at MKL. He's pushing Ari around at the moment.
MKL so fast out of corners and so fast into corners as well. I think Ari's just keeping him at bay in that middle sector. But as you say, yeah, look at that battle for third. Third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Nothing in it at all. Benjamin Swain driving absolutely brilliantly. Vlad is closing on Edgin, who is definitely struggling now. I was expecting Edgin to close up to these two up front, but he's not done that whatsoever. 6 laps to go, as I said. It will be 5 laps when they cross the line. How much has Ari got left in the tank to hold on to this race victory? MKL is chipping away at that lead, and I don't know how much more he can push, and clearly a mistake slipping in there as he's lost a lot of time coming out that final corner.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often for MKL that we've seen a mistake or two. Maybe it's enough for him to refocus. Maybe that's what's going to happen for him. But Edgin, again, perfect out of that last corner, giving him the pace advantage over Vlad and Swain and Benjamin. So he's keeping that position all the way through. Benjamin losing out a little bit, and I feel for Morris because he's the best of the rest, but in no man's land. There's no one else around him.
Yeah, 5 seconds behind. Sorry, 5 seconds in front. 10 seconds behind. He's basically having a lonely race, watching probably on a big monitor somewhere. But Swain is still in the hunt for a P4 finish. He's actually still in the hunt for a P3 finish, to be honest with you, with Edgin's pace at the moment. And I wonder if Swain will look back at this race and think there was an opportunity there with maybe a different setup, or obviously a bit more practice. He's been practicing quite a lot. I've seen him on the session. You know, he's really putting the hours in. He wants to prove that he's got the pace here in GT4. A man who's got the pace already, MKL once again through the oak tree. He's got such acceleration out of the corner. And I think Edgin's made a mistake as well, because Vlad's right on him too.
What do we watch? Who do we watch? Ari made a mistake, and Edgen has made a mistake. This is crazy, and I think as MKL was inside Ari for a second, then that was quite odd to see. But they're side by side as they come through the back straight into the roller coaster. MKL has some incredible pace, but I don't think it's going to be enough down there. But it's one to watch a little bit later down the start finish straight, maybe.
MKL was absolutely pushing Ari everywhere he could. Vlad has just lost a bit of his gap. He's actually dropped into Swain as well. We'll keep an eye on this battle and that one. And here comes MKL once again. Has he got the straight line speed? Has he got the achievement to do this? And once again, I think Ari's just going to defend it well, but MKL's forced him around the outside now. Can MKL find his way past? No, he can't. Swain, on the other hand, can't do the same. He's right on Vlad's gearbox, though. But MKL not giving this one up, looking to fight around the outside. That'll be one hell of an overtake, but he couldn't get it done. Is MKL going to dive down the inside? Oh, Ari moved over, but nothing warranting a penalty there. Defensive once again, as it's still Ari from MKL.
Lap 12 of 16. It is nuts what we've seen so far. We wondered if, well, we spoke about being a wider track, there would be more overtakes, but you know what? I don't think there is because of it being wider. It's everyone's so close on pace in a sense that they just can't find the moves. And again, Ari has made a mistake out of the south bend.
And MKL right on him. We're just watching Swain at the moment because Swain has been really pushing Vlad these last few laps. Again, I don't know if... Oh, Vlad, look at the slide he's having through that corner. I wonder if we're having a few tyre problems now. The circuit is long. The circuit is going to wear those tyres out. And Swain has an opportunity here, but doesn't have the straight line speed that clearly the McLaren does.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see MKL, I think, side by side, but I'm staying on board with Swain. I think he can... He's had to put the brakes on where... a little bit earlier than he has done in the last few laps. So the McLaren actually is holding him up. The Mercedes has got to find a way past its McLaren, or otherwise Edgen's going to pull away. Maybe this is why Swain's gone for the setup he has. It's to save those tyres instead of it being an out-and-out race pace, because look at him now. He's all over the back of that McLaren as they come down the start-finish straight.
And there is an opportunity now for Swain to take the position. MKL and Ari, are battling for P1. And MKL's actually made the move stick. We saw that up in the background. And MKL this time down the inside has done the job. And not only has the McLaren lost the lead, the McLaren has lost 5th. As Swain makes his move too, MKL takes the lead. Swain takes P4. And 3 laps to go here. Both McLarens dropping down the order, and I wonder how hard they've been working those tyres to defend, because both of them losing out on the same lap. That can't be a coincidence.
That was nuts. Absolute, like, Ari, as well, I was flittering between the two. Swain went around the outside of turn 1 and 2 to ensure he overtook Vlad, but MKL, no prisoners there. He is doing an incredible job, but Ari's got the bit between his teeth to get that move back. He's gone up the inside, and there's contact between the two of them.
And he's contact. Oh, he's hit Edgen as well, and it's absolute contact mayhem here. And Swain is going to look for that P3 now, and that was once again a desperate, I want to say, dive from Ari. He was a long way back once again. And Ari down into 3rd now. He didn't lose out too badly, but Edgen moves himself up in 2nd. Vlad's going for the move round the outside. He's off the grass. Swain trying to defend best he can, but look at the straight line of that McLaren. Swain, will he brake later to keep it up the inside, which switches to the outside line, or when he pushes Swain wide, but Swain not having any of that whatsoever. He tried to keep up the inside. Vlad is there as well, and Swain keeps the defensive move going, and all Vlad is basically sideways through the corner. Benjamin's getting involved now as well. What is going on with 3 laps to go here?
The tyres on the McLarens are really struggling. You could see Vlad just, well, it's more of a drift than turning through some of these corners. And that's going to cost him big time. MKL has a nice, healthy lead now, though, at the top of this. And, wow, you know what? Fair play to MKL. He's doing a great job. Ari, though, has to find a way past Edgen, and that is no easy feat either.
No easy feat at all. I think for a moment Swain, well, A, thought he might be off the circuit battling Vlad, and B, I think he believed for in a podium there for a minute. He saw Ari sideways and hoped for the best. I think Edge and Ari definitely collided, and the stewards will of course investigate that. I'm sure Ari may say MKL closed the door. MKL might say he dived me up the inside, and it could have ended both our races. But Vlad, on the other hand, not letting this one go. The one thing that you'll get with tyres is, yeah, they'll lose their performance in the corners, but they're not going to lose their performance down the back straight. And Vlad is definitely not done with Swain yet. I think Swain wishes he was, though.
Yeah, Swain is probably just looking behind and thinking, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. But again, actually, that's possibly the best turn 12 I've seen Vlad take in the last 10 laps or so. He's, but that I say that, and he's not close to Swain to make any sort of meaningful move. This I, this race still has plenty to offer with 2.5 laps remaining.
What Vlad doesn't want to be doing now is dropping further back into Benjamin. Benjamin almost took him on that lap he was battling Swain. Benjamin clearly, he's running the same car as MKL, and we know how fast that car is, especially in the third sector. So right now, it looks like this heading on to the penultimate lap of the race. And Vlad, look how he's struggling through that final corner. I think Benjamin's going to have a go at him here. We'll keep on board with Benjamin. But the current status of the race, MKL leads by 2.7 seconds, followed by Ari, who dropped down into third after contact with MKL. Then comes Swain, and it comes Vlad, but it might come to Benjamin. What a blatant dive down the inside from Benjamin. He's got so much more confidence on the brakes on those tyres. Vlad has got absolutely nothing left in the tank. What a move from Benjamin to put himself up into P5.
Great job there from Benjamin. Now this is going to help Swain. This is going to relieve some of the pressure of Swain, so Swain can go on, because these two are going to battle away. Because I don't think Vlad likes being passed numerous times. He's still fighting away with the Toyota. There's contact between the two of them, and that has, wow. I mean, 2 into 1 don't go.
2 into 1 into Maggots, the Maggots and Beckett section definitely doesn't go. So, lap 15 of 16 here. A lot of the front runners have been split off. The only one I would say keep an eye on, Ari is closing in on Edge in here. And is there going to be fireworks with a lap to go? He just dropped back a bit now. I wonder how much that McLaren is struggling with his tyres. You can see, though, with Vlad, he's already dropped a second to Benjamin. He's definitely struggling indeed. That McLaren that's off in the background is a lapped car, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Should get out of the way of everyone. You got a feel for Vlad here. He's driven a great race, but clearly that setup has burnt those tyres out, and he has just not been the same since he got past to lose the lead of the race.
No, it's a shame. And you spoke about the McLaren getting out of the way. That was Fawaz.
Yes.
And fair play, he used the old pit lane to go into to get out of the way to allow the cars lapping him still equal chance to overtake as Vlad goes off the track again at the exit of turn 17. So fair play to Fawaz and to stick it out because he is a lap down. So fair play through all that for him. But it's not just Vlad that seems to be struggling. Ari again out of the exit of turn 1. Back end sliding a little bit.
Well, luckily for Ari, this is the final lap of the race. Kimirai, on the other hand, there's actually a battle going on for P8 right now. As I saw, there's a Raid, Kimirai, and Pockets all battling for P8 on the final lap of the race. Raid desperately trying to dive back up the inside. He actually goes for it up the inside. Oh, and he's had a huge collision into Pockets. Pockets was running off wide. That was bound to happen with a late dive like that. Kimirai says, thanks very much. And he's moved up into P8, Pockets into P9, Raid did to P10.
Absolutely crazy decision then. But sometimes you got to throw the dice and you get double ones. But Swain in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't meaning to say Swain. I was meaning to say Vlad, who's still at the back of Benjamin. I mean, there's still that to play for, but I think MKL has won this race.
MKL has, I think, won this race. I would like to say Swain is catching Ari, but I think he needs a few more laps to do it. And Vlad, I don't think is going to get Benjamin back. But for MKL, from last week's defensive masterclass, he has put on an absolute masterclass in how to put pressure on a set of drivers. It was 2 versus 1 for most of the race, McLaren's versus the Toyotas. But MKL is about to pick up a well-deserved victory here in the American Championship. He comes round the final corner with a 1.8 second advantage. MKL will pick up his first victory this season in GT4. He crossed the line to win here in the Virginia International Raceway. Edgin comes home in second. Ari in third. Swain picks up a brilliant P4 in his debut. And Benjamin just holds off Vlad for P5. Vlad is in P6. Morris will finish in P7. He's had a bit of a lonely race, Morris, but he's driven an absolute fantastic drive. Kimarai will finish in P8. He was battling with Pockets and Raid on that final lap of the Grand Prix. Pockets will come home in P9 and Raid will round out your top 10. But as we ride on board with MKL here as the cooldown lap happens, give us your driver of the day, Gareth. I think I might know who it's going to, but give us your driver of the day.
It's got to be MKL again. A massive, Swain and Benjamin also had great drives, both deserving up there. Why has Swain moved up into third on my screen?
I don't know. On my screen, he still says he's fourth, so I think he finished fourth. I don't know. Maybe there's a bit of a glitch with the timing screen, but on my screen, he does say he's fourth. I think he crossed the line fourth, so
Okay.
it will be
Oh,
MKL, Edge,
I
and
just
Ari.
heart and mouth moment there. I was like, what? Yeah, because it says Swain Ari on my screen, but hopefully it's just a well, I say hopefully, it's gonna go with a mistake on my screen. But yeah, no, MKL definitely. I mean, turning defensive. He was able to defend and attack today, and that was incredible. It's a real good drive from MKL.
Very good drive indeed. It was a very enjoyable race. Just going to get MKL, Edgin, and Ari into the cooldown room. And we will get our interviews underway. I think I've got to give it to MKL as well. He's a fantastic drive once again. I will say I very much rate Swain's drive, his first drive in the GT4 Championship, to finish in P4. Fantastic result, and also I think giving Edgin a bit of run for his money. We'll see what Edgin's like. See what Edgin's like next weekend. But yeah, brilliant race, brilliant entertainment for everyone. And we got only one more race left in the American Championship before we have a quick break before the LMDH endurance launches, which is a very exciting thing. So hopefully we'll get these drivers into the cooldown room shortly for our interviews. Ari's in the cooldown room already, and he finished in third place. So we'll bring him in first. And where is the comms box? I think it's this one. And it is Ari in P3. He battled the race incredibly with MKL. Uh,
Um,
had
uh,
a bit of a move that went a bit
I mean,
wrong. We didn't see it
it
entirely, but
ish.
you can give us your perspective in a second, Ari.
Uh,
But yeah, that was it. First of all, very entertaining watch. You
I
and your
was,
teammate maybe had a bit of a scuffle. I don't know
it
what
was incredibly
you
stressful.
yeah, it looks stressful. Tell us from Ari, from your perspective, how that race was.
I mean, oh my god. So first of all, qualifying was, I mean, it was alright, I guess. I qualified third, but I had more pace for sure. I feel like I could have gotten pole. And then, well, the race happened. Edgin got a shit start as always.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere once again.
Again. Um, yeah, then I was got overtaken by MKL because I just I was suffering. I
Was it?
guess.
Yeah, I think Gareth has a question. I think
Um,
Gareth, what your question on the McLaren setup for that race?
oh, I made
Yeah,
it.
was it harder wearing on your tires?
I don't think so. It was honestly fine. My tire wear. We just suffer with race pace in general. I guess.
Was Vlad running your
Like,
setup as well?
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't that bad. Honestly, the race pace was fine. It was 44.0 or so most laps, but it's just MKL put a whole load of race pace out of nowhere.
Yeah, that I think Gareth, you were watching the timing screens. You guys seemed fastest. Was it through the middle sector, Gareth?
Yeah, the McLaren
Oh,
seemed
I love the middle sector. It is perfect. I get purple middle sectors every time, but then I just make a mess of the sector 1 and or 3.
Yes, I think Gareth, you were saying you. Sorry, what was just 3 different cars had 3 different fast sectors.
Yeah, it looked like the BMW had the fastest first sector,
Yeah,
the McLaren had the fastest second sector, and the Toyota was quickest out of that third sector from
yeah.
the looks of things.
Toyota was it's so fast down the straights. It's so annoying.
Like he had such a he seemed to just have so much grip out of every corner, and he just shot off in a straight line when he
It's
was behind you.
so. I mean, he was lagging slightly as well, so I didn't quite know where he was. That made it quite hard to defend at
But
some points. Like, he would move half a car length.
you know, 2 races, a first place last race, third this race. We have one more race left in the American portion of the championship, and that is at Road Atlanta. Are you looking forward to that
Um,
track?
oh yeah, I love Road Atlanta. I've done many laps around there. I'll be great.
Well, we're
I
expecting big
think I
things from you, Ari.
should be leading the championship if because Scrub didn't show up.
Oh yeah, Scrub wasn't here. That's
Yeah,
possible. That's very possible.
should be well ahead.
You were already ahead.
Edgin gained a point on me,
Yeah, you're
I
already
guess.
ahead going into this race, so you'll probably carry on being
Yeah,
ahead. But thank you, Ari,
yeah.
for joining us. It was a pleasure watching you race, my friend. Even if you, well,
But
actually
did you?
no, you knocked ladder slide, so I'm very happy with your work.
But did you see the double overtake? That's for the lead.
The double overtake on MKL and Vlad.
On MKL and Vlad.
Like me and Gareth were watching that, and it was a bit mad, wasn't it, Gareth? That
That was a
lap.
single great moment.
It was
Yeah.
it was pretty mad. But yeah, no, thank you, Ari, for joining us. It's fantastic to have you here.
Yes. Been a pleasure.
So we'll bring in our second place finisher, and some may say he was lucky to finish in second, but I say to those people, no. Edgin, welcome to the comms block. Second place, from starting from pole. Once again, I think you need to get better starts, mate. You didn't move anywhere once again.
I think I need to get lights, man.
So you started first, dropped down into sixth, had I would say incredible battle with Swain. The man tried to push you as hard as he could. He did a good job of it too. And then you were sitting in third for a lot of that race. MKL and Ari collided. You got up into second, stayed there for the rest of the race. How was that from your perspective?
I really liked the battle with Swain. It felt really close. I don't know what it looked like from above, but there was multiple moments where I think we both almost touched. Uh, Other than that, I mean, I'm pretty tired, to be honest. I didn't have much practice on the track, but I figured it out during quali and during the practice beforehand. Um, I did go for a setup that kind of gave me a bit more speed to try and match MKL Supra. So I actually straightened out my toe and everything just to make sure that I'm able to get as much speed as I can. Because after seeing the Supra last week, I was pretty terrified. I'm pretty sure the same thing happened now. But yeah, I mean, it felt good for me. I'm happy I'm in P2. I'm sad about the collision with Ari. I'm gonna have to go look at it because I don't know if I didn't avoid him or if he just bumped the throttle a little bit and hit me. But
Well,
that basically just killed all my speed. Like
yeah.
I could have no more speed.
From a looks from our perspective, obviously Ari dived on the inside of MKL. It didn't work exactly to the way he planned. I think he spun around. I think he tried to accelerate forward and realized that you were so close to him, and I think he just couldn't stop in time and hit you. But Gareth,
Yeah.
I think you were watching the sector times all race, and it was very very close between all the drivers.
It was. I mean, your first sector. You had the fastest first sector by about. It was about 8/10 of a second, nearly a second. Were you just that in tune with the first sector, or was it
I
the BMW?
Yeah, no, I feel like the last corner actually felt really good for me. Like I was really bad at it during the practice, and then in the race, in the quality as well, it just kind of clicked. Like I figured out I could, wedge the wheel in there and sort of spin around a bit quicker. And then at the same time, obviously, I did a top speed car, focused on braking in top speed basically, and it's mucked up all my turns because of that. But yeah, I mean, in the areas, I think I didn't feel confident going into sector 3. I don't know who got the fastest sector there, but I didn't feel too confident going to sector 3. But at the end of sector 3 and sector 1, I felt great. I mean, I think it's like the only big big straight line.
Yeah, well, the thing is, me and Gareth had egg on our face in the end of qualifying because we both said that your setup was based for the race and not for qualifying, and then you go put it pole by 5/10 of a second. So that was bad job on the commentator's part there, trying to figure out what you were doing. But one more race in the American portion of the championship. You're still in the hunt for the title for this section. Obviously, Scrub didn't race today. Ari takes more of a lead in the championship. Do you like Road Atlanta? You think you're going to get some points there?
I've never driven Road Atlanta, so I have no idea. But I'll see during my
Polling.
practice.
Well, we know you're going to put it onto pole anyway, so it's fine, Edgen.
Maybe.
But thank you for joining us, man. We'll chat to you in the next race.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. And we'll bring in the race winner now. And the race winner, MKL. After a defensive masterclass in last weekend, he turns it into an offensive masterclass this weekend. Once again, his Subaru absolutely terrifying people everywhere it goes. MKL, I don't know really what to say. You drove that absolutely fantastically. Picked up driver of the day from both myself and Gareth. How was that race from your perspective?
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, at the beginning, of course, a great start from P4 to P2. And then yeah, then lap after lap, I just saw that I can match the guy in front. I think it was flat. I can match his pace, so yeah, I was pretty happy about it, and then just started attacking him because he was making quite a lot of mistakes. So it was quite easy to get close to him. But in the other hand, I think Ari. I mean, it was quite hard to fight with Ari because I don't know if he had some like internet issues or something, but like he was like moving on the straights a bit, and that was quite hard to like. It was just quite hard to fight with him, but yeah, in the end, managed that. Managed to bring that P1 and yeah.
Well, it was a great race. I think Gareth, you were saying, just it was just a brilliant race to watch, and MKL proving once again that he has the pace here.
Yeah, MKL, what a drive! I'm struggling to figure out how you went from defensively immense to offensive brilliance this week. You've got pretty much everything in your locker to be a driver that maybe is able of winning more races and maybe a championship or two.
Yeah, thanks. And by the way, can I ask you a question? What do you think about that move Ari made? Like, I don't know what lap that was. I think 13 or something.
Well,
What do you think about that?
I think he did something similar a few laps before it, and actually got past you. And arguably, I think me and Gareth were saying he got his he pushed you a bit wide there. Let's just say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I don't know what you think, Gareth. It's just it was close racing. I don't know. I don't know personally, Gareth. What's your opinion?
It was a lunge up the inside, and I think because it worked the lap before, Ari was thinking that he was capable of doing it again. But sometimes the same trick doesn't work, and yeah, maybe problematic, and people could look into that.
I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, he did that before, but I needed to avoid him there, so I was not quite happy about it. And then, yeah, and then he did like pretty much exact move, but it just ended up not so well for him. But yeah, still.
But apart from that thing, you drove a brilliant race. You are now a
Yeah,
race
thanks.
winner and also a second place in the last two races alone. We have one more race in the American portion of the GT4 Championship before we head on a quick break before we head into our next portion, which is I believe is Australia, I think. But Road Atlanta. What is your thoughts on this circuit?
I've never driven there, to be honest, so no idea.
A lot of people have said that, apart from Ari, who says it's his favourite track. So you may have to worry about for him. But anyway, MKL, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll chat to you next time in Road Atlanta.
Yeah, thank you guys. See ya.
Thank you, MKL. Your driver of the day and race winner. And Gareth, once again, that brings us to the end of another GT4 race and another crazy race indeed.
Definitely a crazy race, and a little bit shorter next time out at Road Atlanta. Only 12 corners instead of the 17 that we had this time out. But it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least, as long as I've got the right track. Or otherwise, I've done my homework incorrectly, and I'll get an F from Scrub. But something to add onto the all of this is Swain didn't have a setup death dive. So
Oh, well. Now that is interesting indeed. What has he told you that he wasn't running a setup?
yeah.
Well,
So is this things to come from him? Obviously, Benjamin was great tonight as well. Hats off to Benjamin, because what a waiting in the wings, not wanting to be too over aggressive or whatever, and he managed to pick off Lad at the end as well. Another great race from him. And I'm wondering how this race would have panned out if Scrub was here as well, because that's all of a sudden a 7-way battle for the lead.
yeah, it was definitely intriguing, and I do wonder. I know Ari was saying about his setup, but I do wonder if they were struggling with their tires at the end of that race. It did seem that way, and maybe they just didn't have the race pace, but they were having it for the start of it, and then it sort of came towards the end. Vlad was definitely sliding. Anyway, but we have one more race for the American portion of the championship before we have a break. As I was saying, the break will take place from the 6th of May until the 27th of May. So make sure you join in for the final America's portion of the championship on the 6th of May before we jet off into the LMDH endurance season for one race indeed. And yeah, Gareth, it's been a pleasure once again to have you commentate here at DRC. We're very lucky to have you commentate with us.
Oh no, thank you. I love, second week, 2 great races. Absolutely loved it. And it just, it's hats off to the guys that are running it, because it's a great league.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully everyone's enjoyed watching it. You can check out all of the DRC stuff in the description of the Twitch. You can join our Discord on screen right now. I'm not going to read it all out because I'll get it wrong. But anyway, thank you all very much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow for the 3rd round of the F1 2022 season, which unfortunately, it turns out I will not be commentating tomorrow due to, I forgot, I have a event at the same time, which I signed up for, which actually Gareth signed me up for, kind of. He might know what that is. But anyway,
Apologies.
we'll see you next Saturday for more GT4, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tier 1 and Tier 2. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining.